Extreme poverty, as defined by the World Bank, is living on $1.90 a day or less. This means that people living in extreme poverty can spend all the money they accumulated in an entire day on a large order of fries from McDonald's. Knowing this, it is not a surprise that living in extreme poverty leads to undernourishment. Highlighting this, a 2015 World Bank estimate showed that 10% of the global population was living on or below the extreme poverty line. That same year, the World Bank also found that 10.7% of the world's population was undernourished. So who is suffering? Extreme poverty is most prevalent in developing countries. The Hunger Project also found that in 2017, 328 million children were living in extreme poverty. Undernourishment resulting from this was also the cause of death for almost half of all deaths of children under 5 in 2017, while 155 million children are currently suffering from stunting, according to the Hunger Project. These problems are profound and widespread, but we are going to look at two regions that are facing these issues more than the rest of the world. The first region strongly facing these issues is Sub-Saharan Africa, which now accounts for half of the world's extreme poor. Africa, the world's poorest continent, has the highest population growth rate. Africa's population has been increasing rapidly, growing from 221 million in 1950 to 1 billion in 2009. Development success and economic growth cannot keep pace with this, resulting in more and more Africans living in poverty. The Gates Foundation estimated that by 2050, 86% of the extremely poor people in the world are projected to live in sub-Saharan Africa. What is going on in Africa to cause this? One important factor is that of the world's 20 war-related conflicts in 2013, 11 alone were fought in sub-Saharan Africa. Poverty in Africa is already rampant, and the bloody wars are only multiplying this problem. Africa also faces serious environmental challenges, including erosion, desertification, deforestation, and most importantly, water shortages, all of which have increased poverty and hunger by reducing agricultural production and people's incomes. Further emphasizing the severity of Africa's situation, Somalia, a sub-Saharan African nation, has the highest under 5 mortality rate at 1 in 8 children dying before they turn 5. Iceland and Slovenia, both European nations, have the lowest ratio at 1 in 476 children dying. What does this mean? Children in Somalia are 60 times more likely to die in the first 5 years of life than those in Iceland and Slovenia. Africa is not alone, as South Asia is also home to areas of highly concentrated poverty. The largest and most predominant country in South Asia is India, which makes up approximately 17% of the world's population. Yet in 2016, 33% of people living in extreme poverty were found in South Asia. This number is alarmingly large, considering that South Asia only makes up about 3.5% of the world's land surface area. But what can we do? Permanent solutions to the issues of extreme poverty and hunger require governments and organizations to help impoverished communities develop and to teach them strategies to permanently sustain themselves. Known as asset-based community development, this approach can eradicate poverty by providing a community with funding for development, teaching specific skills to people in the community, and helping those people find a secure job. An example of this is the funding of microgrant programs which donate a certain amount of money to communities in need but stay out of the decision-making process on how that money is spent. This allows communities to develop and become more independent. The goal of this is to maximize social capital so that impoverished communities can thrive without any further help from outside sources. For more immediate, short-term solutions, inventions that alleviate poverty must be funded and supported. For example, the shoe that grows is a shoe that adjusts to growing children's shoe sizes, as families in extreme poverty can rarely afford new shoes. This is just one example of a small way lives can be improved through innovation. But you don't need to be the leader of an organization or an ingenious inventor to help. Donate to the right foundations, such as Food for the Hungry or Khan Academy, groups that promote sustainable and self-sufficient development. Finally, volunteer, be vocal, demand action from your government, and participate in service work to end extreme poverty.